thanks for tuning in. This is the Hyundai poop box restoration. As you can see in this clip here, the head gasket blew, and so it's shooting fluid out of the radiator. So I got to replace the radiator and all this good stuff, and I got to replace the head gasket. So the car was given to me for free. I'm gonna try to restore it the best I can. I'm gonna do some paint on fenders and stuff like that. At least I'm gonna try to, and try to get it gone and get it sold. So if you have any questions, just comment down below. And as just a reminder, breeze through these things sometimes, and every one of my videos is not a step-by-step process. It's just for entertainment, and if I may have missed something, so if you attempt it, it's on you, not me, bud. So thanks for watching, have a good one, and here we go. Alright, head fixers. So today we're going after the head gasket on this 2001 Hyundai Accent. And first I'm going to take the coolant out of my radiator, and then I'm going to go after power steering bolts. These are 12s. There's another 12 right here. Move this to get it in like alignment. Take that belt off, then take this cover off, and we're gonna take this stuff off. So here we go. So we took this off. We got this. This is a K&N, and you know, nobody ever cleans these things. So put this out of the way. Now we're gonna go ahead and take these off here and get our spark plugs out. So, in the process of trying to get these spark plug wires off, every last one broke. So, if you're going to do it, I'd assume some caution, because this is what I got to deal with now. So, we're going to move away from this, and we're going to go back to our power steering pump, 12s, get that loose, and probably take this bracket off. So, I was able to get this one loose here with a wrench, and push this in, mark my belt PS for power steering. And we're going to go ahead and take our last two bolts out of here, this one out in the back, put those in the bag, mark power steering, and pull this out of the way. So I've used some deep freak on my bolts, here, and we're going to let that soak, take this bracket off, and we're going to take this cover off, which is a couple tens. Darn it. Then my time belt exposed. I went after my water pump bolts here. You break these loose. You gotta make sure the belt's still on. Get these loose. So these belts are gone. Only one left is the AC. So I'm gonna change sides. Go over here to this side. Get the 12s to hold this coil packs on. There's 12s here, 12s over here. Get this out of the way, and then we're gonna go after our thermostat housing, which I think is a few 12s. So hold all this on. Get this out of the way. Undo connectors, and then I think we'll raise it up and see what we can do down there. And then I might just try to leave my intake on when I pull it out. Alright, so this is out of the way. Then we're gonna go ahead and pop this little trigger off. Ta-da! Now we're gonna access to our 12 bolts. I think there's one here, and that one. I don't know if you can see right there. And there might be one underneath we'll get to. But that will pop off and make a huge mess. In order to get the rest of the bolts, you have to pop this top thing off. I got the bolt out of the bottom already. So this is, for the most part, loose. And I think there's one more. Yeah, it's right there. There's one more, I think. Yeah, right there. There's one more. Let's see. Get in there. So once this is all out of the way, there's this nut and this nut down here, and that should allow it to stay in place without having to take a whole bunch of hose clamps off. So let's see what happens here. Put you down. Alright, fixers, so I went ahead and I pulled this hose off and this out of the way, so this is now going to be out of the way. So we just got to focus on getting our connectors off, like that one, and vice versa for all these. There's some, like this is that's a master connector for your fuel injectors, so we shouldn't have an issue with that anymore. And let's see. So after I got that, I'm gonna go ahead and take my exhaust bolts off. Ooh. Oh, that one's tight. There we go. Right. So that's all exposed. We're gonna
hit it with some deep creep. Get it really nice and soaked. And then I think we're going to raise it up and try to get our tire off and our crank pulley off and see where we're lined up for our timing marks. So now that we're underneath, we're going to take that bolt nut loose, and we're going to unscrew our belt, take our belt off, and then we can see our marks for our crankshaft, line it up, and then take it off with this 19 in the middle shinket. Taking that off. Make sure they mark your belt. AC. Now this is off. I'm gonna take this. Make sure you take this off. We're gonna take our cover bolts off. Got all those right here in the bottom. I'm gonna take a ratchet like this and reach up top. Get my last couple bolts. There's one here and one on the other side, or you can just lower it down. So there are marks here. Mark. Wind up with that mark there. And up top. So on the top camshaft sprocket, there's a hole. You have to line that up. That's how you line it up. If you line it up with the sprocket to the valve cover, you're going to have your timing off, and they're going to have a cam crank correlation code later on, and won't allow you to start it too well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go off the exhaust now. So now that this is floppy, go after my valve cover. So because of this issue, I have to crack this loose in order to get my valve cover out of the way. So this is a 17, and you want to break this loose so then you can get your tensioner off down here. Then everything's free as long as it's lined up like it's supposed to be. Once you get everything free, you can get this off, and then you can go ahead and get your cam off. And we're going to take this mount loose, which is 3 bolts here. Take those loose right now and support the engine with a jack of some sort. And then I'm going to take out my head bolts. I'm hoping I could pull my head bolts out through the cams without taking these cams off, because there's some special motion here with your time. There's a timing chain, and you gotta have. I've kind of marked it a little bit. You got this mark here, not marked there, and it's supposed to be flat with the head, which I'm assuming. I've kind of marked it on my chain on both sides. So if I do something crazy and put it on the wrong way, I have an idea of what I'm doing wrong. So here we go. So I'm down here at the bottom again, and I've loosened this, and I've already kind of loosened our tensioner bolt here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have to put you guys down after I do this, but I'm going to take my pry bar as much as possible, then tighten that down so that I can take my belt off and still have the tension. So after we've done that, you can see how easy the belt's going to come off. It's just going to walk off. Nope. After that, get that out of the way. This one out of the way, and then away she goes. Right, and so we can see up top there that everything has been taken off. Everything's still lined up like it's supposed to be. And you can look up there, you see your there's an idler pulley, and there's your cam. We've already loosened our cam sprocket, so we're going to take that off. And then we're going to start taking head bolts off, see what we can do. So I've got my jack on my oil pan. And what that does, it just keeps enough pressure on it so it doesn't like jump down and break anything. So we're going to break this loose. I got this out of the way, and there's this big through bolt here, there's a 17, and there's a square nut on the other side that stops on this here, and it drops. You want to make sure you grab that. And this is going to pop up like that. Get this out of the way. Gives you a little bit more access to pull those bolts. If you want to, you can just leave them on, and it should be able to, well, no, we're going to have to take that mount off because it holds the block to the head. So I had to take my tensioner off. As you can see, that is those 212s which come off, and then you go ahead, and I have to take off. Because there was a bolt that was hidden behind the tensioner right here. Let me see my fingers. Right. So I got, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff gone. The cam gear's gone, the idler's gone, the mount's gone, and you can see here there's actually a nut, and then 3/14s to hold on there. So now we gotta take this cover off. There's a 10, another 10 here. This cover's gonna come off, and then our head should be able to separate when we get right to that point. So now we're at the point where we can start taking these bolts out, and they look like they're 8mm Allens. Let's put this down here. That's what they are. They're 8mm Allens. So you want to look around, make sure you have all your grounds off. This is going to come out this way. Also, I need to take this off the intake, along with my throttle cable off the intake, and unbolt it here, or just undo the cable, because it's going to hold me up. Because once I get the bolts, then I should be able to pull this way, and then take the rest of the stuff off my head when it's on the ground. On this, you just want to take a 14 and loosen this one side. You don't want to adjust it too much because you can mess with it and put your things out of adjustment. So then once we got that, this goes like that, and your cable's out of the way just like that. Pretty easy stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start breaking some bolts. So I had high hopes that I could get this bolt through that hole. It's not gonna happen. So we have to mess with our chain. So what I'm gonna do is, like I said, I've already marked all this happy stuff, and you can see on your cam guides you have, or cam bearings, you have your E1 here. It says exhaust 1, exhaust 2. So the only thing that's not marked is this and this on the following opposing side. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take all this off, and you have your arrows that are pointing towards the front of the vehicle. Just remember that they're going to the front of the vehicle, not the back, to the front. So we're going to take this off, put these in a bag, take those off, put those in the bag, and I've marked my cams: exhaust, exhaust, I for intake, I for intake. So that way it doesn't get mixed up in the whole rigmarole of things. And I don't know what I'm going to do with my chain. I'm probably going to take it off and just make sure everything's lined up and marked and double marked again and again. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so here we go. So I've taken the cams off, and now that we're here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean off my off my followers and stuff here, and we're gonna mark them because they kind of wear into each cam, and you know you don't want to put them back on there and them not be where they were wearing before. So what I'm gonna do, clean all these off, and we're gonna mark them for the exhaust just like we did before. Exhaust 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, and intake 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. So as you can see, exhaust 1 through 8, intake 1 through 8, and I'm gonna lift those out with a magnet and put them in a bag. So all my bolts are broke loose. So I'm gonna zip everything out real quick like. And I did the special, oh man. So you're supposed to do like an inward outward in pattern so you don't crack the head, because the head kind of warps like that when you do undue pressure. So you just want to do from the inside out, like here, or outward in, that's outward in. From here in, just make sure you get all the pressure evenly spaced, just so like here, 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 you know, it's like a cross pattern. Alright, as you can see now that the head is up off the block, and this is still attached, so we're going to pull this up out of the way, get our intake off, and then see what happens. Alright fixers, so we've taken these hoses off here in order to get this out more. Along with this hose here, there's a hose that connects to this, and there's this connector here that goes towards the back of the head, as you can see right there. So as you can see, there is some carnage going on in this little motor, and things got hot. And the history of this is I got the car for free from my brother because he didn't want to do it, and it's got low miles on it. It's only got 130,000 miles on it, but jeez, there's some pudding in there. So I'm I'm going to take this gasket off, and we're going to see if we have any cracks in the block and try to clean some of this up, make see what it looks like. So, I'm going ahead and I've cleaned a lot, and just from looking around, I'm not seeing any cracks. So far, so good. Another thing we'll look for is like cylinder wall scoring, and there kind of might be some right there, and there might be some more right here. Or this has been sitting for about a month and a half. It could just be where the water is sitting, and that's what it kind of looks like. It just looks like where the water was sitting and causing it to rust a little bit. So, because I did have to move the engine to line everything up, and it did sound kind of, you know, like you're moving rust. So, I'm going to take my intake off, and I think we're going to continue on and do the head gasket job on this. So on your intake, all your bolts are 12s, and you can see they come out pretty easy. So that's pretty simple stuff.